Welcome back to the program, Kimberly-Sue Murray.
Hello, thanks for having me again.
Well, thanks for coming on. So Traitor, directed by
Yeah,
Corey Stanton. I love Corey Stanton's work. Like Robbery was a great film from
yeah.
a number of years back. And seeing this, it is such an interesting piece because it's basically a one-woman show. For people who
Yeah.
haven't heard about the film, tell us what it's all about.
Okay, so Trader is sort of this single location, single actor psychological thriller about this woman who we know nothing about, who decides to take over the stock market in the confines of her basement apartment. And she is willing to do pretty much anything to succeed. So it's kind of someone described it as an assault to your brain, which I think is a great description of the experience of Trader, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ride.
Yeah,
It is a ride, definitely.
no, for sure. And one of the things I when I was watching it, I thought about was as you mentioned, that we don't really know about her, and it
Mhm.
kind of sorry, it reminds me of the Joker from The Dark Knight. It's like there's multiple times we think we're getting a tidbit of a story that
Yeah.
may or may not be, and it's like, and as I'm watching, I'm like going, how much of this is like real? And then of course there's some
Yeah.
scenes where it's very clearly just figments of her imagination.
And that was what our intention was, to when we were divulging information, it was to, deliver it with earnestness, and you think it's coming from a place, a real place, and then not, or maybe it is. So it was a very intentionally vague on our end, um because I think that's what's interesting about the character, is that she is so good at manipulating,
Oh
and
yeah, definitely.
clearly something's happened to her in her past to lead her down this really dark road.
Yeah, no, and like that's the thing that's interesting is I know that you worked out a whole backstory for this character, and you did a lot of work with a dialect coach to get the
Yeah.
voices right through all the different times where she's manipulating people on the phone. This has got to have been like probably the most fun you've had with a character, and probably the
Oh,
most rewarding.
hands down, hands down. Only because there is so much to work with. Like the script, like Corey wrote such an amazing script that, when I read it, I was like, where do I even begin? It was like terrifying, but so exciting. It was like, it felt like a roller coaster ride. Like there was no, there was no jumping off. You were just fully committed, diving in head first. And it's like, either we're going to crash and burn, or this is going to be amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
and to that point, like it, as we've already discussed, in the intro, is that it's just you. Like
Yeah.
you're it, like there is phone calls and there's
Yeah.
conversations going on, but you're the only person in each scene. And when you were reading this, like obviously it's going to be a challenge, like, but
Yeah.
did you feel at all intimidated at first by that, or was that like what really drew you to the piece?
Well, it kind of drew me, but then it was also a red flag, because I hate selling like phone calls. Like you're always just acting with yourself. And I just don't like that. But so it was really important for Corey and I to have the actors on set.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had an amazing, like stellar cast of voice actors. Some of them were really good friends that I had, for Sean Benson, I had a say in who played Bob the Broker. Corey was like, "Is there anyone that you'd really like to work with?" And I was like Sean, like I read the script, and all I could think of was Sean. And so, um, yeah, we had them on set. They were upstairs, so we shot in the basement of a barber shop.
In the middle
uh,
of February, right?
in the middle of February. Like it wasn't great. Like it was kind of cold and like damp. but yeah, I mean, we were in the basement, they were upstairs. So we got to work on the scenes. There was a live feed, so I got to hear them live. Because it was important for me to act with someone. So it's not just like my ideas of what they, because every actor brings something. Like, I don't believe in like, you know, prepping your lines in such a way that you can just do it alone. Like, you need to be reacting off of someone. So that really helped.
Yeah, and of course you had great, as you mentioned, you had great people to work off of. I know that Art Hindle and Ellen Dubin were two of the
Oh,
phone calls as well.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a stellar cast
Yeah.
doing the voices, totally. But of course, the last day you guys shot on a stage, and that
Mm-hmm.
was all the what's going on in Trader's mind,
Yeah.
and that stuff was just so interestingly woven into the film. It was like
Yeah.
suddenly we have this art piece in the middle of this kind of gritty,
There's a lot of like experimental aspects to the film,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I liked, because then it's like we get to play even more. Like, there's the whole drug sequence where she's tripping, and then there's the all of her internal, like, in a way she's having a conversation with herself, and her subconscious mind leaves breadcrumbs for her, you know, conscious journey,
Yeah.
which I thought, I didn't know what we were, and we didn't know we were going to end up on a stage. Like, we were, while we were shooting in the basement, we were always talking about, okay, like, what about a theater, like sort of like a black sort of space, or so we played around a lot, and then finally they found that stage, and we just, yeah, we made it work.
No, totally. Yeah, and with that, you like within the film, it's like as we talk about it, it's like this just one person kind of thing, and it is such an interesting character that the audience just can automatically get lost in.
Uh,
You're very much a chameleon in this role, and it's a very, as like I've heard you talk about that, your goal was to start becoming more transformative in your
yeah.
pieces and actually be more known as the characters than, of course, as many actors in Canada's greatest export is Christmas films. So you did a bunch of those, and it's like that's good work, but there's
Yeah,
only
it's
so
great.
much diversity that you can bring to those parts. So
Yeah.
now it's like, what has it been like for you that now you're searching out these like really like complex, diverse roles?
Uh, you know, it was really hard in the beginning. I don't want to lie about that stuff. It really sucked. You know, I cut off my hair. That was confusing to everyone and myself. And I didn't really know where I fit in for a good year. I think I didn't work for a year, and that was really hard. And it was hard to like stand by a decision that, like, at the time when I decided to stop doing, you know, romantic movies and Christmas movies, it was I was feeling really confident. I was feeling really good and on top of my game. I was kind of like, okay, well, what's the kind of actor? Like, why am I doing this? Because I'm certainly not doing it uh, for a paycheck. I'm doing it, and part of the reason why I act is because I get to escape and play all these different kinds of characters and travel the world and time and space, and yeah, I just had to take a good hard look at my career and decide. I had a choice: either, you know, just keep doing whatever came my way, or be a bit more selective and have a say. And yeah, it took a year. It was, and Trader was the first project that came to me after not working for a year. And so I was hungry. Like, I wanted to, like, I was willing to like give my heart, my soul, my mind, everything to the project. And so it was like perfect timing. I was in a place where I really wanted to play. I really wanted to transform. I wanted to like provoke and provoke. I wanted to provoke. And I think it's a very provocative movie and character. I don't think she's very likable, and I think that's great.
Yeah, no, she's scary at times. She's downright
Yeah.
scary.
Terrifying.
It's like-
Terrifying.
I
think
was
is the right-
watching the film going, wait a second, we've talked to her before. She's really nice. She's a great actor, because this is
But
scaring
I
the
think
shit out
it's
of me.
the nicest actors that get to, because there's no shame or guilt going there, because it's like, I'm not that. So then I can go and do that.
Yeah.
Knowing that, you know, no one's gonna speak to me differently for going there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like, as Andrew mentioned, like I it's so interesting to think about how, like, in Canada, like a lot of actors do, you know, the holiday films, and you know, but then we also see you guys in films like Trader, right? Like where you get away from that element, that kind of, you know, schmaltzy, happy, you know, very happy universes, into something where, like, as you said, like, is provocative, it's challenging, it's not a world full of, well, nice people, and let's face facts. Like, as I was watching like the opening scene alone, I was like, that should just be clipped and then shown to everybody over 60 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? It's so wild, because my grandma, my poor grandma, was scammed that way. I mean, she never went as far as giving her credit card information or anything, but it happened over months and months, you know, and that, sorry, my dog is just gnawing on the toy behind me. So yeah, like, she was getting phone calls, and we knew that, but she was getting phone calls from this man who was very interested in her, and he would spend hours talking to her, and he was grooming her in a way. And eventually we knew where it was leading, but it was heartbreaking to have to tell my grandma, you know, this guy that's been calling you, he's not interested in you. He's scamming you. But yeah, it happened over a couple months, and then, you know, we knew where it was heading, but it was kind of like we had to break her heart. So yeah, I mean, it's real. This whole, like, phone credit card scam. They're vulnerable people. They're lonely. They want to talk. They don't understand how, like, you know, you shouldn't give your credit card information over the phone. Or even, oh my God, recently, probably last year, or maybe it was a couple years ago, my mom got an email from her best friend saying, like, oh, I'm in Africa and I got, like, my wallet stolen and I need money, blah, blah, blah. And she called her by her name and, like, talked about her kids. And all of a sudden my mom was like, oh my God, my friend needs me. And I was like, no, Mom, she got hacked. And my mom couldn't even wrap her brain around the idea, like, what is being hacked? What's hacked? And then it's like, what do you mean that's not her? But she used my name. How does she know my name? It's like, these people are really good at what they do.
Absolutely.
And they have zero remorse.
Oh yeah. Like, none at all. Like, it's just they just do it. They love it. And I actually just recently had a conversation with my mother about this, because I was trying to explain to her the future that we are rapidly moving into with AI, and how these scams are going to get a million times worse and easier to do.
And better.
Yeah.
They're going to get better.
It's not even going to be like the old, like as I, you know, I kind of jokingly refer to anybody over 60, but it's like, it's going to be anybody soon that's going to fall prey to these scams, because they're going to have our voices and our information, because so much of us live online.
Yeah. Do you know how I don't trust anybody? Like, I clearly have trust issues. Whenever I get a phone call, I'm like, nope, I hang up. Like, if I don't recognize the number, I will, like, I don't care if it's like an automated message or a real person. Airbnb, because my partner and I we run an Airbnb, and sometimes when there's issues, they will call us. And, like, nowadays, like, it's all, like, in app, right? You want to solve your problems within the app or over email.
Yeah.
And Airbnb is like, they actually have people who will call to discuss your case. And the poor guy tried calling me like 5 times, and I kept hanging up on him, being like, stop calling me. Finally, he got through to me. He's like, I'm from Airbnb, don't hang up. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful, I guess. There you go. My God. But well, yeah, with this film though, how do you feel about, because I know you weren't a big fan of it beforehand, but now after doing this film, how do you feel about peas? Because I know that you luckily you didn't have to snort wasabi, but
Oh,
you were snorting like a whole bunch
oh,
of mushy peas up your nose. How did that
that was
experience just
disgusting.
scar you?
Oh, the things we do. Every time I find myself on set, I'm like, oh, the things we do for the job. Yeah, no, that was gross. I don't want to do that again. But I did it, and I did it a bunch of times. And but that's the thing, when you're in it, you're like, yeah, give me the pee paste. Uh, but the scene where I'm on the floor, snorting some more, and then I start gagging, and that was just me gagging.
That
It's
was
so
real, yeah.
that was real.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Well,
I really wanted to get in there for this part. Like, I'm not a method actor at all, and I have nothing against method acting, but for this one I was like, okay, let's get down and dirty. Let's play.
Wow. Yeah, I see. This is every time I hear stories of actors doing stuff like that, it always just like makes me cringe a little bit because I think of all the
Yeah.
things that I don't like and all the the phobias and fears and or foods, even, like, whatever, and it just be like, I think I might have to give that part up if that was me, you know what I mean? Like, it just like when I see stuff like where they have spiders walking on them or something because they're going
Yeah.
through like I'm like, nope,
Yeah. I
nope.
mean, I'm sure there are certain things that I wouldn't do, but at least for this part, I just felt like, you know, I feel lucky as an actor because I get to do things that challenge me, and I get to stretch myself in so many directions. It's like the best growth opportunity. So I want more roles like this because then I just, you know, learn skills and discover a dark side of myself where I do wild things. It's so good for the imagination. It's so good for your brain and your body to push yourself past your comfort zone. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like if I'm not doing that, I get really lethargic and kind of lazy. And if I keep staying in my own little bubble of comfort, I don't think it's very healthy. So
All right. Well, you've convinced me I'm going to snort some peas tonight then.
just do it. Just
Yeah.
check it off your list.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to snort some peas
Make sure
tonight.
to wash it down with some water, though.
There you go. Oh man, but of course, since then you've been working a lot as well. Like I know that you recently shot Die Alone
Yeah.
as
Oh,
like
I
Frank
can't
Grillo,
wait.
Carrie Ann Moss, Douglas Smith. Like this is a fun cast.
Oh man. Oh, what a dream job. First of all, Carrie Ann, I mean, I love her. I love her so much. Oh, she's spectacular, and she's so impressive, and I just love to watch her do her thing. So I'm really excited for everyone to see her play this part. And I got to work with Douglas, who's awesome, and Frank Grillo, who's just a total badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to tease Frank on set. Yeah, I feel like I grew up with men like Frank. I know how to, like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
was when we were on set, there was we were shooting in Katepwa, just outside of Regina, and it was like tick season,
Oh,
and
It's not
ticks there,
fun.
so everyone was on edge. And we were doing a scene at the table, and I was just like, oh, and I felt something, and I pulled out a tick, and I just freaked. I just yelled, and I was like, tick! And I flicked it. And I think Frank thought I flicked it on him, and Frank lost his shit. And I was like, you're a pussy. And so we became buds after that. You call a man a pussy, and it's just like, it breaks the ice.
There you go. There you go. You just go around calling men pussies on set to break the ice, eh?
I mean, Frank is like, if Frank's a tough guy, he can take it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, man. Well,
except for
yeah.
a tick. Except for a
Yeah,
tick. Then
yeah.
then he
Except for
runs.
a tick.
Then he's running for the hills.
Everybody
Oh,
has
yeah.
their
Oh, yeah.
weaknesses. Frank Grillo's is ticks. That's understandable. Oh man, my God! And then you're currently working on Love Is the Monster, right?
Yeah, I'm shooting that in Northern Ontario. So we were in North Bate for a bit, and now we are in Parry Sound. Yeah.
Fun.
Shooting a horror film.
Well,
Those
of
are
course,
hard.
Northern Ontario. Of course, you're going to shoot a horror film. That's
Oh
what,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like so culty, and we're all wearing beige. So uh it's cool though. We have an amazing cast. There's 11 of us. So it's just a lot of fun on set.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, I think that people definitely got to check out Trader.
Oh yeah.
It's available now on VOD and digital in both the US and Canada. It is like 90 minutes of intensity, and I love it. Like this is definitely like, this is probably the best calling card you will ever have, because you do such an amazing job in this film.
Thank you. And I hope people feel compelled to rent it, to go the extra step and rent it.
Yeah, rent it.
Maybe one day it'll be on streamers. I don't know how those things work, but
I say go even further. I say rent it, and if you really like it, buy it. Buy it. Add it to your digital collection forever.
Yes.
Here you go. All right. Well, thanks so much for talking with us, Kimberly. We hope you have a great night.
Have a good one.
Bye.